Welcome into the shop, the little shop of horrors today. And we're continuing to try to ace out the zombie stereo here. The Curtis Mathes, I'm guessing it's about from 1963. And as you guys know, the basic problem is I'm on MP3 input right now from the cell phone. Sounds great. I mean, it's a magnificent sounding unit, but the problem we have is we don't get, when we do get FM, we get one channel. AM is fine. If I click it
That's
over
why
to
we
AM,
have Ron Owens on talking to you from 9 until noon, while the other stations, yes, blah, 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 blah,
no problem. We go on AM. We got good reception on here.
News Talk.
The tuning eye works real great.
Story.
The end of Jim Tomsula's year as Niners head coach is bringing strong opinions.
Depend on the Bay Area's news station, KGO.
But the problem is when we go to FM,
Crash reported eastbound 580 on the 238 connect.
we really get a ghosting of the FM. We don't get anything. So I slept on that last night. Let me turn this off a minute.
Smoke coming from the end.
So I kind of slept on that a bit last night. And I came to the conclusion, because nothing is happening when I'm turning the tuner here. I did some research today and I learned a lot about the differences between, well, what we're going to call traditional variable air capacitor tuning like you have here for the AM stations, but this uses something entirely different down here, and I want to talk about that. As you can see with the traditional setup here, these vanes just move within, and they sort of move like a sandwich between the other opposing vanes, and it's called an air core variable capacitor. And I don't want to get technical, but it helps to isolate and tune in AM stations, and I assumed that there was something comparable in this set, but there's not. When you go to tune in stations on this Curtis Mathes, there's actually a little, what they call a tuning slug, that moves forward and backward within a coil down buried underneath here, and this is where the horror of brain surgery is going to begin, because there's a lot of connections that go into that. 1, 2, there's a little tiny ceramic capacitor down there that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 different connections going down on this that have to be carefully marked and identified so that we can put it back together again. You know, it's one thing to take it apart, but I suspect maybe when we take apart this unit and we use some jumpers on it and things, I suspect that we'll find there's some type of break in here controlling this slug that moves back and forth. Hence, we're not getting any other radio stations except a ghosted one. Depends on the time of day that it's coming in. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's incredibly complicated, Rosie. The slug tuning versus the traditional, what you see in most tuners from about 1965 onward. And I would agree, it's a very, I don't know, crude way to, to tune, but that's what we have to do. That's what we have to use, and that's what we got to work with here. And we got to hope, because a couple of things make me think that that's the problem, and here they are. The first thing is, we're getting an FM station. I don't care if it's ghosted or it's not strong, we're getting an FM station. So I know that the detector's working here. In other words, that detector's picking signals out of the air. The only problem is it's unable to move to different stations. Therefore, I think we have some kind of mechanical issue that's going on in there. If it's not a mechanical issue, I've seen somebody else, as I talked about before, that it was buffaloed by this problem. They went in here and they went on the message boards to guys that had repaired Curtis Mathis tuners all their life. And these guys were totally buffaloed. They changed tubes. They changed these IF silver mica cans on top of here. They changed resistors. They changed capacitors, and still the problem persisted. But what they didn't do was tear into this little unit down here. And that's what I think we're going to have to do, is perform brain surgery. As distasteful as the idea is down here to remove all this wiring, we're going to have to do it, I think, if we have a hope of getting this unit working again. Because as it stands now, there's nobody home. Once in a while you get a station, it depends on the time of day. But otherwise we got nothing. So guys, guess what? We've got to do a little brain surgery here. The other thing that's going to make it really difficult on this is this tuner string is now going to have to be removed from the unit. That means it's going to require a restring. So a couple things I need to do. I got to understand when I go to put it back how it's going to loop on here. So I'm taking a generous amount of video. But another thing to realize too is we also have underneath connection, we have a capacitor here, a 0.0047, that's going to have to be removed from the board. So I guess what I'm going to do, and I say we're, is if you guys are going to lend me a hand here, we're going to go ahead. Ooh, let me sit this down for 1 second, and pardon me guys for sitting that camera down. I don't want to get this thing busted up any. I want to just sit it down there. I've already gone ahead. I'm going to remove the power amp feed here out of it. Remove the MP3 feed, and I'm going to take a good amount of pictures here, still pictures, so I understand the color scheme and how things are gone together here. So when I go to remove the unit, I won't have any trouble theoretically putting it back together again. This really is like brain surgery, guys, I'll tell you. Let's get one more. You really need a good pinpoint soldering iron that's really hot. You can see I've already got a few leads off. Take your time. Let the solder heat up the joint really well. Might have to get this one from the other side here. This is working in really tight quarters here. I don't want to burn any of the insulation off these parts, but I've got to get this thing good and hot. And there we go. That lead is now off. So this capacitor can stay on there. So we got really one more to get off at this end up here, and we should be pretty much home free. Okay, all the leads are off. Thank goodness. So we can now go ahead and unscrew the take that nut off the front that's holding it in, and then we're just going to have to I'm taking some video of the tuner dowel string here, and I'm looking at the way that kind of works around and loops at that third one to the right and around a couple times here, because what was unstrung will have to be strung again. So let's go ahead and remove the unit now. Ugly looking thing, huh? What they call a multiplex decoder there. So well, we're gonna have some fun taking that apart. And yeah, got that off pretty well. I think I'll clean up where the solder joints were made there, just to make sure we haven't pierced any area that should be insulated. And I'm not anticipating any kind of problems there. I also wrote another sketch there just to be sure. What if my phone blew up, right? I have another sketch there. So, well, there it is. That's where we removed it. Now you're going to get mad because I'm going to tell you that's it for today, guys. If you want to see the grand opening and all that, stay tuned for our next exciting episode, because as difficult as this thing was to get out, this decoder, it looks like it's going to be even more difficult to take this thing apart. So we're really in the deep end of the pool now with the brain surgery. So you know, we either go out with total victory, or once in a while you lose one, guys. All in all, though, no matter what, we're going to have a heck of a nice amplifier here. But boy, I would love to have this tuner working good again. Thanks for being along today. Stay tuned. This adventure gets more exciting. And yeah, I bet you can't wait to see what's inside here. And maybe we can find whatever was going wrong and fix it and have a nice FM tuner. Thanks for being along, everyone.